Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Morgan's Pop Talks, breaking down the latest in reality TV and pop culture. Hope you have had a fantastic week. I have, but I'm just looking forward to next week because your girl is getting out of the tundra that is Northeast Ohio, and I'm going to Florida, baby. Oh, yeah, gonna get some vitamin D besides the gummies that I take every single day, like some actual sun on my face. I'm going to see a blue sky. I'm going to see green grass, and I just cannot wait. Although I've heard that the Floridians have gotten a light dusting of snow. I'll tell you what, even if it's 45 degrees, I'm going to sit my butt on the sand of Fort Myers Beach. And I'm going to do the dang thing. I don't even care. I don't even care if I have to sit out there in a parka. Your girl's going to the ocean for my birthday. Yep, that's right. Your girl's turning 33 next Monday. 33, big year. You know why? Because you know that song, 100 Years. I'm 33 for a moment. You know, like that whole entire song about getting older and how life comes at you fast. I've been singing it in my head for the past, I only remember that it was my birthday like 2 days ago because I went to Olive Garden and they did give me a free dessert because my dad told him it was my birthday, which was great, by the way. But ever since there, I have had that song stuck in my head. And, you know, I finally gotten to that age where my birthday's not a big deal anymore. It was in the past. You know, when I was 21, 22, I was doing the dumbest things, like these little pencil skirts and 4-inch stiletto heels in a blizzard in Northeast Ohio. And, that sounds like my worst nightmare. Like, that's how I know that I really have matured. That's how I know that I am 33, because you will never catch me doing that ever again. But when I was 22, you know, I was going out in -5 degrees with no jacket on because I wanted to look incredible. I just looked a little frostbitten. But you live and you learn. You live and you learn. 33 years on this earth. And I was thinking the other day, what do I want? I want tickets to see Harry Styles. I know they're astronomical. I know they want your firstborn child. I'd give it. At this point, I told David, you know, one of my big goals this year is to maybe thinking about getting pregnant and also going to see Harry Styles. Those are like the two big bucket lists, you know, which honestly of equal importance. So we'll see. I don't even know like when the tickets go on sale, but you know what I did tell my husband, because he bought World Cup tickets. Yeah. Do we need to talk about that? In June, we're going to go down to Florida, Miami. It's going to be 117 degrees. We're going to drive 2 hours to the World Cup, lose half of our body weight sweating while we're there, and then drive home 2 hours because David wants to go to the World Cup. It's an experience. You only live once. I'm 33 for a moment. Says, what's his name? Who sings this? Five for Fighting. Oh, yes. Five for Fighting. He told me I was 33 for a moment, so I got to live my life. But anyways, I said, if you can buy World Cup tickets, you can buy me tickets to see Harry Styles. So we're going to report back next week to see if he actually does it or not. Like I said, I have not been on the black market to look at the ticket prices because I've heard they are insane. As soon as it becomes my problem, I no longer want it. So, you know, out of sight, out of mind, I'll just let David do it. I'll let David look at the prices. I'll let David buy the tickets, and I'll be fine. I'll be living in just absolute ignorance and bliss. Yep. All right, let's go ahead and get into this week's big stories. We have to start the Pop 3 with the biggest story, this terrifying mystery that is surrounding Savannah Guthrie's 84-year-old mother, Nancy Guthrie. So in case the name doesn't ring a bell, Savannah Guthrie is a Today Show host, very popular. Her 84-year-old mom has gone missing, and authorities say she may have been abducted from her home. Now, all this information is according to what authorities have said by Wednesday, February 4th at 2:04 p.m. Eastern time. So this story has been moving fast. There's been a lot of information out there, so it could change by the time this comes out. But authorities say they found suspicious and concerning conditions when they responded to Nancy Guthrie's desert home north of Tucson, Arizona. Authorities say they cannot rule out a kidnapping for ransom in the disappearance. So Sheriff Chris Nano said at a news conference on Tuesday, quote, "We do believe Nancy was taken from her home against her will. Her cell phone, her wallet, her car, and her medication were left behind." And this is a big deal because everything that I have seen play out in the media says that she needs this daily medication to survive. You know, she had a pacemaker. It disconnected from her Apple Watch, which tells us that she had been, moved out of range. And it says here, while she is of sound mind, physical limitations make it unlikely that she left on her own. Not only that, law enforcement sources say there were signs of forced entry and blood at the scene, with images showing blood splatters near the front door. A security camera frame at the entrance was also found empty, though it's unclear for how long. Several news outlets have reported the possibility of a ransom note, including TMZ, which said the note demanded millions in cryptocurrency for her release. Now, TMZ was the first place that I saw it, and, any wackadoodle can send a fake ransom note to TMZ asking for Bitcoin. They didn't know if it was substantial evidence or not. It could be too. Like, you don't want to dismiss it because you never know. They did turn it over to the authorities. TMZ did not disclose when or how they received the note or its full contents, but confirmed it was turned over to the Pima County Sheriff's Department, which is leading the investigation. Savannah Guthrie was supposed to be in Paris for the Olympics. She obviously is not. She pulled out of co-hosting the 2026 Olympics because of this. And she posted on her Instagram, an Instagram post that said, "Please pray." And in the caption, she was urging people to pray to bring her mother home, saying her family believes in voices raised in unison, in love and hope. She also shared a Bible verse about peace during what she called an unimaginably difficult moment. And to me, it's more than an unimaginably difficult moment. That is probably the wildest thing that I have heard. Like, I just could not imagine being in Savannah's shoes. And this was reported to TMZ. Now, authorities say they don't have a suspect at this time, but there were some headlines pointing fingers at the brother-in-law. They've been taken down. So TMZ said, this is what they wrote: "There's a potentially stunning twist in the kidnapping of Today anchor Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy. And Ashley Banfield, who's an independent reporter, claiming her son-in-law, Nancy's son-in-law, might be a suspect." So Ashley Banfield, like I said, an independent journalist and former News Nation host, reported Tuesday night a law enforcement source told her Tommaso Cioni has been identified by police as a possible suspect in the case. He is married to Savannah's sister, Annie, and the two were the last people to see Nancy on Saturday night. Annie reportedly had dinner with Nancy that night, but it's unclear if Cioni was also present. Now, the Pima County Sheriff's Department told TMZ there's no suspect. That's what they said. "We have not identified a suspect or person of interest in this case. Detectives continue to speak with anyone who may have had contact with Miss Guthrie. We are also awaiting additional forensic results." And then they had another press conference February 4th that morning saying, "We have nothing else to go on but the belief that she is here. She's present, she's alive, and we want to save her." Very scary, terrifying, tons of unanswered questions. Let's just say that this ransom note is legit. It's real. They sent it into TMZ. Obviously, to me, that means it's someone who was close to the family and knows the family, because, and I don't mean any disrespect, but you're random burglar that is just going house to house, in a Tucson suburb, are they going to know that that's Savannah Guthrie's mother's house? Are they going to take her and then hold her ransom and ask for cryptocurrency? That seems very pointed to me, but all of this right now has not been substantiated or confirmed. So all we are really left to do is just question what is going on there. Continue to pray for Savannah and her mom and her family. Truly a terrifying experience. All right, let's pivot to headline number 2. We have an update in the Beckham family feud, except this time the Peltzes are getting involved. Nicola Peltz's father is speaking out about everything that has transpired with his daughter and his son-in-law and their family on social media and in the press. So this all went down this week, February 3rd, at the Wall Street Journal's Invest Live event in West Palm Beach, Florida. Nelson Peltz was there, and this is what he said. Has my family been in the press lately? I haven't noticed that at all. My advice is to stay the hell out of the press. How much good did that do? Now, I'm not sure if he's talking about David and Victoria and going to the press, or if he's talking about Brooklyn's Instagram posts. I feel like you could probably argue that neither of those things did much good for the family, but Nelson Peltz continued by saying, my daughter and the Beckhams are a whole other story. That's not for coverage here today, but I'll tell you, my daughter's great, my son-in-law Brooklyn is great, and I look forward to them having a long, happy marriage together. So we hear a lot about the Beckhams and their family dynasty, and not so much the Peltzes, but they are a dynasty in their own right, and some would say an even bigger dynasty than the Beckhams. It's just the Beckhams are... I look at it as like new money, old money. The Beckham family is very involved in pop culture, and the Peltzes are like Succession. You know what I'm saying? So they are ultra wealthy, the Peltzes, billionaire, American billionaire family. They're best known for business, investing, high-profile celebrity connections. Nelson Peltz is the patriarch of the family, billionaire investor and activist hedge fund manager, co-founder of the Trian Fund Management, known for taking major stakes in companies and pushing for leadership or strategy changes, has held board positions at major corporations, including Disney, Procter & Gamble, and Wendy's. Estimated net worth, $1+ billion. He's married to Claudia Hefner Peltz, former fashion model, known for philanthropy and society appearances. And what's the same about the Peltz family and the Beckham family is that, yes, they have a lot of money, but they also do care about the family image. But the Peltz family, particularly Nelson, is known for being intensely loyal and protective. And multiple outlets have framed them as like a strong counterweight to the Beckham brand, which I think adds a whole other layer of family drama. Like I said, you have old school global fame versus new money power, and a son growing up inside of a brand, then marrying into a family that still has a ton of money, but are celebrities in a different way that might be more appealing for somebody like Brooklyn. And the two families have very different ways of expressing loyalty, control, and privacy. I mean, like I said, we've been talking about this Beckham family drama for weeks now. And how much have we really heard about the Peltz family and their involvement and what they think? Well, here you go. Nelson Peltz is telling you exactly how he feels at Invest Live in West Palm Beach, Florida. Last but certainly not least in this week's Pop 3, they're back. OG RHONY signed a deal with E! For a brand new docuseries called The Golden Life. Luann de Lesseps, Jill Zarin, Ramona Singer, Kelly Ben-Simone, and Sonia Morgan are trading New York City for Palm Beach, Florida. Maybe they'll run into Nelson Peltz. I don't know. 10 episodes. It's being described as sun-soaked with a sliver of shade, which will follow the iconic friend group as they navigate life, friendship, and drama into their next chapter. Here's what the press release says about this new show. Bound by decades of shared history, fallouts, and friendship, this fan favorite group of New Yorkers are getting fresh together in the Sunshine State. In this new golden era of life, the longtime friends are thriving in and around Palm Beach with fabulous second homes and a bustling social scene. With their signature humor and nonstop hijinks, the series will follow the group as they navigate dating, family, and career milestones. Though skies are bright in Florida, unresolved drama looms as they reconnect after years of highs and lows. So, they are back. They are not back on Bravo, which this has confused a lot of people because the inner workings of E! And NBC Universal and Bravo used to be very tied together. They're not anymore. So let's break it down. The fact that this OG RHONY docuseries is on E! And not on Bravo is very telling. In the past, E! Was owned by NBC Universal, the same parent company that owns Bravo, for many years, but that is not the case anymore. Recently, E! And several other cable networks were spun off into a new company called Versant, which has officially separated itself from NBC Universal. As of January of this year, E! Is now under Versant's ownership, making it a corporate rival to Bravo rather than a sister network. The OG cast of RHONY is leaving the umbrella of Bravo, NBC Universal, and moving over to E! So, instead of returning to the same company that built their brand, the original ladies are now going to a competitor, and a lot of people have questions surrounding this because Luann is one of the cast members on this new show that's going to be on E! And she's also filming Real Housewives Ultimate Road Trip, which is going to be on Bravo. I don't think Bravo cares as much as people think that they do. I mean, look at Lisa Vanderpump. Lisa Vanderpump has a whole other spinoff that has the word Vanderpump in the name on Hulu, right? You have Vanderpump Villa on Hulu, and then you have Vanderpump Rules on Bravo. It's like, if Lisa can do it with a show that has one word difference in the title, right? Why can't Luann de Lesseps do it? Val Borland, president of entertainment at Versant, said on Tuesday, "We're thrilled to welcome reality TV royalty to E! For a reunion fans have been waiting for. The energy within this group has always been electric, and we're excited to watch it unfold in a new chapter of life by the beach." This, of course, has sparked a lot of mixed reactions for Bravo fans. There are people that are super excited to have them back. The RHONY spinoff really did not take off the way that people thought it would. But, the seasons leading up to rebooting RHONY weren't that great either. RHONY hasn't been classic for quite some time. So I think whenever the reboot did not take off, Bravo fans thought, well, maybe they'll just bring the OGs back and kind of right the wrongs or whatever. That didn't end up happening. And I feel like, they have been moving the OG RHONY girls over to like the Real Housewives Ultimate Road Trip. If you start to in Love Hotel, and if you start to do too much with them, it might become a little confusing. You're like, I don't really know, like, is this RHONY? Is this Love? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, they're kind of spread out all over the place. So maybe they just wanted to keep things streamlined. And look, if they were going to bring the OG RHONY girls back, they would have done it by now. So I don't feel like they're really that mad that E! Scooped them up. Time will tell. I don't really watch a whole lot of programming on E! Will I watch this? Of course, just to see what all the fuss is about. But what do you think? Kind of crazy though, right? Pretty crazy. All right, for this week's deep dive, we have to get to the highly anticipated season premiere of Summer House. I know I've seen the trailer a million times. We never stop. A little pitchy, but you get it. And still, the grin that it brings to my face, it's like curing my seasonal depression until we get into the episode. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the episode. But Amanda and Kyle really sucked the life out of the season premiere of Summer House, right? Wow. We knew the tension was going to be strong based on everything that we've seen play out in the press. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's a lot. Like, if we're counting how many red flags were thrown in the summer house backyard for Kyle and Amanda and their relationship, the limit does not exist. Let's run through them. Amanda riding in a different car, Kyle losing his wedding ring, and Amanda deciding, I'm not going to wear yours if you lost yours. The whole dinner scene, they were bickering with each other, and she's like, he became a DJ just to spite me. This pool fight at the end, I mean, I'm leaving out tons of stuff, but they have never been more separated, not literally, but emotionally on the show, I feel like, as right now. And we've seen them at some low lows, right? We've seen Amanda calling 35 times, breaking his stuff on night one. Now it feels like she wants nothing to do with him. She's like, thank God I finally have been released from my apartment with him. I get to go to this summer house. I get to be with other people, and I'm going to talk to everybody except for Kyle, the first however many minutes that we're at this summer house. But anyways, I digress. We'll get into all of it. Amanda rides out with Ciara. They pick up newbies, Bailey and Levi. Kyle rides with Carl and Jesse. West is bringing a new friend, KJ, with him, who is a model and a professional skateboarder. Now, let me just say, I love West Wilson. I'm going to make a bold statement, and there is a bit of recency bias here because of the Summer House premiere, but West Wilson is one of the best casting decisions that Bravo has made in the past 5 years, because I think West perfectly embodies what Summer House is supposed to be about. I love Summer House so much because I feel like those are my friends. Don't mess with my friends. He's so fun. He's so funny. And who doesn't want to be friends with West? I mean, he's at the top of the list of people that I would want to spend my day with from the Summer House cast. I mean, he's putting corn dogs in the oven for all of his guests at this 4th of July party wearing overalls and a backwards hat. I think it's a testament to his personality that after 2 seasons in, West, to me, has now solidified himself as someone that I could not see Summer House without. We think Summer House, we think Kyle, Carl, Lindsay, Amanda. I'm adding West to that roster. He's made his mark on the show, and I am obsessed. Bestie Westie, love you so very much. Which brings us to Ciara and West. Ciara and West, their history is piling up, right? They had a hot and heavy summer fling, summer romance. Ciara fell very hard. I believe West also fell very hard for Ciara, but I think that he got scared and ran away because, he has said in confessionals in season past, you either break up or you get married, and that's scary. So Ciara says, I'm working on being less rigid. I want to have fun. And that kind of cracks the door for West to wiggle his way back into Ciara's heart, right? Because if Ciara wants to have more fun, Wes Wilson is making corn dogs and bringing billy goats to the party. So that's really fun. I'm really interested to see how their dynamic plays out the rest of the season. But like I said, the entire rest of the episode was just red flag after red flag about Kyle and Amanda's relationship. We get this flashback scene between Amanda and Ciara in Ciara's apartment. Amanda says, I wanted Kyle to stop going out, stop partying. So he found a career going out and partying by becoming a DJ. There's this awkward moment in the kitchen when everybody first gets there when Kyle seemingly is going to say hi to Amanda, and she's like, can you help get some stuff out of the car? Wants absolutely nothing to do with him. Then Amanda says stuff like, don't embarrass yourself in front of the newbies on night one. The dinner table scene is so painful. Kyle lost his wedding ring. Amanda is not wearing hers. Jesse's like, yeah, they cosplay as single. Amanda says, I wanted to start my own business. Kyle got so mad about it that he started to become a DJ out of spite. Kyle's like, my wife never asks me questions, and now she's just not listening to me. Amanda thinks he says something about jealousy, and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm so jealous. And he's like, I didn't say that. And she's like, yeah, I clearly wasn't listening. This moment from Kyle actually made me kind of sad for him when he said, every summer, Amanda makes me feel like I don't exist. She doesn't mess with me. And I was like, yes. And it makes me sad for Kyle, but I had to remind myself, we haven't seen the past 6 months that has made Amanda act like you don't exist in this group of what seems like 50,000 people in the house, right? He even says, between January and June, I spent 1.5 weekends in the city. I was hoping that this summer I could rekindle things with my wife. I don't think you should wait that long, especially given the circumstances. There's a camera crew there. It's going to play out on national television. It's like, I would have wanted some effort before we got to this moment. And it's like, well, no wonder Amanda makes you feel like you don't exist. Maybe you have made her feel like she doesn't exist by only spending 1.5 weekends at home in the city because you're DJing at Penn State. You know what I mean? So I feel like I had to remind myself a lot that there's a lot that I don't see. Now, I do want to say, I don't really think that there's a bad guy here when it comes to Kyle and Amanda. They're just two totally different people, which we will get into that a little bit later. But I do want to talk about this conversation that Amanda has with Ciara in the bed, where Amanda says, I have this friend whose husband is a DJ. He doesn't drink. He has a child. He does his DJ set. He comes home. Life is good. Not Kyle. Kyle hangs out with the owners. He goes out with fans. He stays out until 5 o'clock in the morning. And then Amanda says in a confessional, I've kind of become numb to it. I've been dealing with this for 10 years. I am like, whatever. I shouldn't feel that way. But also I thought my life would look very different than it does. And I just, it gave me flashbacks to Paige in the bed with Ciara when Paige was, confiding in her about maybe her relationship with Craig ending. It's like, what is it? What is it about being in bed with Ciara that makes these girls just want to spill their heart out to her? Probably because Ciara is a great friend and a great listener. But it's just very telling, And here comes Australian model Bachelor Ben, who has a history with Kyle and Amanda. Amanda and Ben have been skinny dipping together before in Italy. What a sentence, right? Ben gets introduced as a friend that Kyle and Amanda met at Amanda's best friend's wedding in Italy. They were having a ball, skinny dipping, and Kyle was DJing. It's going to be a long season for Kyle if the edit keeps pushing some sort of chemistry between Australian model Bachelor Ben and Amanda Petula. When he lifts her up and she's like, oh, the strength. And look, I don't think there's anything to it. I'm pretty sure Ben is in a relationship with somebody else at this point. He's single on the show, but it's just hard not to look at it through that lens when you know what you know about Kyle and Amanda now no longer being together. I just wonder, how far is that line going to be pushed? Even the fight that Amanda and Kyle get in at the end of the episode about Amanda getting in the pool, I wonder if Ben was not there, would that argument still have happened the way that it did? I don't know. To me, it seems like Amanda and Kyle both see the writing on the wall. They're having the same conversation, just Kyle's having it with Carl and Amanda is having it with Ciara, where they're afraid to say the thing. Kyle says to Carl, I'm afraid that I don't know how to make her happy and that I'm never going to make her happy, which Kyle knows how to make her happy, right? It's not DJing and being gone all the time, but he doesn't want to do that, right? He is who he is, and he's not going to change. And then Amanda says, all I see all over the internet is leave him, get a divorce. We can't wait for Amanda to, leave this relationship. And she says, I don't know if these are my thoughts or if it's the internet. And I've been reading it so much that I am now internalizing it, which tells me she's had the thought, right? She said the thing without saying the thing. But I do feel like there is a vibe shift in Amanda coming into season 10. She seems happier. She seems more confident. And even knowing what we know now about how Kyle and Amanda's relationship is going to play out, they still seem happy, right? So maybe there is a peace in the decision that they have come to and are able to still have a lot of love for each other and be friends moving forward. Because there is this clip going around from the Summer House Season 10 premiere party where Kyle is talking about Amanda and he gets choked up. He says, "Thank you for joining me on this journey through all the ups and downs. You stood by my side and I'm forever grateful to have shared so many memories. The season is more bitter than sweet for us, but I'm confident we will both find happiness, whatever that looks like." And he's choking up. In the video, they do really love each other, but there is a fundamental difference in compatibility. And I don't think that makes either of them bad people. I don't think Kyle Cook is a bad person for wanting to be social and going out. Does that make for the best husband material for someone like Amanda, who likes to stay in and wants to settle down, move to New Jersey and have kids? No. So what do you do? And just to backtrack a little bit, you know, the fight that they get in at the end of the episode where people are saying Amanda's naked in the pool. She's not, by the way. She has a bra and underwear on. It's like essentially a swimsuit. But she's like, "I need a towel." Ben brings her the towel, right? And Kyle's like, "You went naked?" "No." And Kyle's like, "Well, that would have been fun, like, if you would have told me." Which is like, what is Kyle really mad about here? Is he mad that Amanda was in her bra and underwear in the pool? No. He says, "It would have been fun if you would have told me." That goes back to what he said in the bedroom about Amanda acts like I just don't exist. So look, Kyle wants summer to be fun. And I feel like in this moment, he felt like he wanted to have fun with Amanda. And meanwhile, she is seemingly leaving him in the dust. Why is she leaving him in the dust? Because of the last 12 months that we have not been privy to with the camera crew. You get what I'm saying? So yikes. Okay, other little tidbits I want to get into before we move on to final thoughts. Did we miss Lindsay in the Summer House premiere? Yes. Did we miss Paige DeSorbo in the Summer House premiere? Also, yes. Look, the show must go on, so I understand it. But this would be my one piece of feedback that isn't glowing, because I love the show so much. So everything I say is going to be glowing. But I did feel like it was a lot of new people, and it felt like, yes, this is Summer House, but like, is it? You know what I mean? Because they really hard and fast pushed 4 newbies on us, and there's 2 more coming, so that's a lot. So I feel like I was just kind of disoriented by how many new people were there. Who was I supposed to be paying attention to? In my mind, you know, who made a big splash was definitely Ben. Obviously, there's the connection there with Ben having met Kyle and Amanda in Italy. Overall, I like all the newbies. They give me good energy. But I did just feel like they came out of the gate hot and fast. And I don't know, it made me miss Lindsay and Paige. All right, last but certainly not least, I do want to get into some Traitors hot takes from last week's episode. Now, in case you missed it, I did post some bonus content on the MPT feed. David and I really did a deep dive on last week's episode of the Traitors on Seriously. So if you haven't listened to that, you can go back and do so. It's right on this feed, and we take a lot of back and forth about the Traitors. We also talk about Rob and Candace beefing on social media, but I want to give you some of my own personal opinions here as well. The banquet was a total letdown. I don't know what Alan Cumming was thinking. He hyped it up like it was about to be the greatest moment in reality TV history, and it just wasn't. It was like a normal episode. Like, there was not even anything about it that made it special, in my opinion. I thought the entire time, because, you know, they had the 2 elixirs, somebody had to drink it. I thought the right person was going to drink it, because that would have been some payoff, right? But instead, it just was like, okay, there's this banquet, there's this murder in plain sight. Jam, unfortunately, was the one that got murdered by Lisa. He touched the brooch because she was like, hey, like, this is open. Can you help me close it? He got like dragged out of there, and that was it. I was like, greatest moment in Traitors history? Like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all. Now, it did have a domino effect, because what happened at the banquet really solidified Lisa Rinna's fate. And there's a lot of conversation going on right now about who is playing a better Traitors game, Rob or Candace. and let me just say, I like them both. Okay, I'm a reality TV girly. What else do you expect? But it's like, Rob is 100% playing a better Traitors game than Candace is. And that roundtable vote, I mean, what in the world really just solidified it. Because you have to play the game as if you are truly a faithful. I feel like Rob is doing that. You know, he said, I want to be a faithful in last week's episode. He's like, I don't think Ron is a traitor. I don't want to go against Ron. I have publicly said that I'm aligned with Colton, so I really don't have any other choice. And Jam Jam was screaming, Lisa Rinna kissed me on the cheek as he was walking out. So unless people want to be suspicious of Rob, like if he would have voted any other way, people would have been suspicious of it because of his alliance to Colton, as well as Lisa Rinna's actions and Jam Jam's actions. Candace is like staying so Traitors strong. I don't know if maybe she didn't know that like eventually Traitors turn on other traitors, but like it's bound to happen eventually. And now she's just made herself look really suspicious by turning the tide against Lisa Rinna or defending her, doing the rogue Rob vote, which to me blew up the entire game. I know it's easier for us to say that now that we have actually watched it and we know who the traitors are. But I mean, that is like so blatantly obvious that Candace was mad at Rob for taking her housewife friend out of the game. Now, whether or not people will put two and two together and figure out that that means all three of them are traitors, we don't necessarily know. But I really hated that moment from Candace. I mean, vote for anybody else besides Rob. Vote for Colton. Vote for Natalie. I don't know. So we'll see how that turns out for them. But like I said, they were definitely beefing on social media this week. Talked about that on the bonus feed. What else? Can I just give a moment to shout out Rob Roush and his Desert Cowboy t-shirt? What did the shirt say? Let me find it. I mean, what got me last week, it was the belt buckle, you know what I mean, and the plaid shirt. And now he's here in the kitchen with the Wild Desert Cowboy shirt on. I mean, Rob, are you... I was going to ask him if he's okay. No, but really, I'm not okay with that Wild Desert Cowboy. I mean, that's the only reason why I did a Trader segment today, so that I could bring up this Wild Desert Cowboy t-shirt that he was wearing. Go back to the Trader's Instagram post and look at it. So that's what I'm going to go do. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of MPT. If you want more bonus content, I mean, everything. Last week, we talked about the new season of Love is Blind, Kat and Dale drama. He sent her a cease and desist. We got all up into that. Brooklyn Beckham updates, Taylor Swift updates. Make sure you join Lilas Plus, patreon.com/Morgan's Pop Talks. You also get early access to episodes of Morgan's Pop Talks. You get them a day early. You get them ad-free. As you know, I'm completely independent now, so if you want to come support your girl on the Patreon, please do so. If you don't subscribe to my YouTube, at least, you know, we're really trying here, putting the pedal to the metal in 2026. So also leave a review, a little 5-star boop boop, a little love you like a sis, because you know I do. We'll see you next week. The Big 33 live from Florida. All right, that's all I got. I gotta go. Bye.